What's up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto. Be sure to smack a like on this video if you like everything Web3. On this video, I'm going to be going over Camino Network. Camino Network has built out this L1 blockchain specifically for the travel industry. Now, what does that mean? That means that travel businesses like tech companies are able to implement this blockchain into their day-to-day operations, because the travel industry is a pretty low margin industry, but it is a multi-trillion-dollar space. I believe it's $7 to $9 trillion, and it accounts for basically like 10% of the entire global GDP. It's an incredibly huge industry, and there's also downsides to the travel industry. About 11% of all greenhouse gases come from this every year. So what Camino Network has done, not only building out basically like 4 different blockchains to support this initiative, to really back the businesses that are in the travel industry, to help them build out their own network and support them with, instead of disrupting like the bookings.com and the Googles, they're trying to empower the travel industry businesses. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to unpack proof of stake and authority real quick, and then I'm going to dive onto the site to show you guys the value propositions that this has for the travel businesses out there that are trying to modernize. And one of the key components here is that the travel industry is going to work together. This isn't to disrupt the travel industry. This is to empower. And I think that's a really big distinction here, because there's a lot of companies out there over the past few years that have claimed to disrupt various industries and flip them upside down using Web3. But ultimately, this is travel industry experts. Their team, their CEO, everyone on there has extensive backgrounds in travel, and they know that applying new technology to an industry that has low margins can actually help and bolster the industry and really help it grow. And some of the numbers and data in the white paper that I will be linking below are staggering here. One of the craziest ones, I think, is the hotels, the fees that are charged for the middlemen and the aggregator sites like your booking.coms and your kayaks and things like that. They're charging anywhere between like 10 to 40% commissions to get those people booking. And I think that that is just an incredibly beast of a commission, crushing those hotels and their margin to be able to operate. So it's up to the individuals in the actual industry, in the travel industry, to implement new technology and to innovate. And what Camino Network is doing is they're really trying to push the industry to innovate itself, not disrupting. And I really like all the different pieces of value that they're offering. This is a B2B play. And there's also like a B2C angle that can come eventually via the B2B angle. But I really, really like that this is B2B, meaning they're going to the businesses. They are doing KYC and KYB, know your business, for the validators. So people are able to really trust and know that these validators mean well. And when malicious actors come in, because they always do in any L1 blockchain, just basically to either try and take it over, do a 51% attack, or just do whatever they can to just test the limits. And I think that they have really designed this brilliantly to prevent that. The consensus mechanism that is proof of stake authority is extremely energy efficient, to the point where they're going to have a energy efficiency explorer, effectively like a block explorer that they already have. You're able to see the energy usage and the basically, is it green or not? And this is really something that empowers the user and the businesses that are really trying to limit that 11% figure, because that is a huge amount. It was founded 3 years ago by Ralph Uzbek, the CEO. And this is an incredible team that has built out this technology from experience in the travel industry. So an entire L1 dedicated to a $9 trillion industry is quite an undertaking. And having their expertise, bringing that into the Web3 world is powerful. Not only do they have 80 plus validators at the time of recording this, but 150 travel companies already signed up, ready to implement this technology, and they're already using it. There are people building on this. There's literally like 5 different examples that I will link in the description below so you guys can check it out, play around with it, and see how people are implementing this tech already. And I really like that the travel applications that are being built and are already integrating this are from the relationships of the team. That is something that a lot of people undercut when it comes to founders and people starting up. Your relationships are really how you kick things off. And that expertise, bringing that to an L1 blockchain that's created from proof of stake and authority, is such an important detail here and such a big accomplishment. To hit that 80 validator mark is huge, because you have so much trust already built into it, and you have people that you know operating and helping govern the actual blockchain. These validators are what you would consider a consortium, and this is called the Camino Consortium Network. This is all of the individuals and companies that have 100,000 CAM tokens bonded, and they're able to actually operate these nodes. The nodes are able to govern the network, validate these transactions, and ultimately secure the entire network and platform itself. So the idea here is that people that are in this consortium that have bonded these tokens put up 100,000 CAM, they bond it, they set a limit of time that is going to be bonded, and they cannot take that out over that period of time. When they're ready and that time frame has gone up, they can turn that off if they want to, but ultimately you are getting rewards for every single transaction that's going through. That is the business model here, is that you can set up, bond your tokens, your 100,000, lock them in, and start generating that juicy reward every single time a block passes. So I really like that these are the companies themselves, because this is a new revenue stream. It's an easy pitch to say, hey, if you guys are not already set up with the Camino network, let's get you set up. It's 100,000 of the tokens. You just need to lock it up. I'm sure they have an engineering department that's ready to help these companies set this up. And then immediately together, users, partners, everyone that are using the network come together, they're transacting, and you are making money as a business from just participating in this and verifying everything you need to get that node up and running. All of the different validators in this consortium are able to take votes. They're able to put proposals up and make votes for governing the entire network. This is intentionally put there so that individual businesses can come in and make calls on what they want to see in the network happen. That includes transaction fees, the amount that is going out to the network every time. And governing that is so key. And it's a really beautifully designed system so that all of the authority people that have these validators that they're governing are able to make that call. There's a multi-sig feature that is coming where these companies can have a multi-sig to put their funds on chain as well. So that means that individuals, like let's say the executives at a company that have implemented the tech, they can have two different signatures in order to send a transaction, and they verify. That is a little bit of bus insurance for one individual if they have a private key set up in like an office somewhere. You have 2, 3, however many different signatures you need to send that transaction. So really excited to see that. They're developing a geo explorer that allows you to basically identify the different geographics that are important for travel. You have the hotel explorer that are all the different hotels that are on chain and interactive, and you can see who is actually participating in the network. And the travel chain, I think, is one of the most important things on here. That is where you get the data and the different prices across the entire network. This is pricing transparency, which is extremely powerful for really empowering an entire network of people. Because if you have pricing consistency and transparency across an entire industry that's $9 trillion, you are going to see prices change. And you're going to see a lot of fair pricing and aggressive competition, which is ultimately better for the consumer. So I'm going to dive onto the white paper, quickly onto the website, just to show you guys the breakdown exactly what Camino Network is trying to accomplish and how they're trying to completely revolutionize this multi-trillion-dollar industry. All right, so here are the challenges that the current travel industry faces and the opportunities that are presented through the Camino blockchain. So you have centralized and fragmented supply chain. Of course, you have all the different delays and increased costs associated with centralization, and the real-time coordination among different entities is the key here. It's improving efficiency and reducing costs. This transparency also that we'll get to is crucial for reducing costs on the front end of the consumer. Slow time to market. This delays in launching new travel packages or updating pricing due to cumbersome approval processes and data synchronization issues. This can be done through smart contracts. Easy. High transaction costs, additional fees for currency exchange, banking, all the different intermediaries and payment processes. This is boom, done with peer-to-peer transactions on the blockchain, siloed and old tech systems. I know everybody listening to this and watching this is 100% familiar with the old tech systems of travel, and it leads to data errors and of course, a bunch of inefficiencies with just all the different systems out there and just the incapabilities of them. The interoperable platform that allow different systems to communicate seamlessly is it's going to be the new standard. Fraud and counterfeiting, fake booking offers, of course, the bait and switch offers, the identity theft, and of course, counterfeit travel documents. They're doing KYB and KYC to make sure that they can reduce fraud. And that is a value not only to the consumer, but also to the businesses that are implementing this tech. You have, of course, your tons and tons and tons of manual processes involved with check-ins, bookings, customer service, all of it. There will always need to be some element there, but AI and the smart contracts will reduce the reliance on manual tasks and empower humans in the staffing side of things. Sustainability, challenge in tracking and verifying the practices that are sustainable is a very big issue that a lot of people are discovering now. And the tracking of the sustainability metrics is going to be part of the entire system here to make it eco-friendly and just part of the major initiatives that are going on in the travel industry today. Of stake and authority real quick. Speed, of course, scalability, energy efficient, but this is my favorite part here, the security. It is the way that it's built and structured has this probabilistic nature that I thought was really interesting and dug deeper into. And it prevents Sybil attacks, DDoS attacks, and collusion attacks. This is really like basically applying probabilities and chances of bad actors. And it allows for these individual validators that are sending out to random other validators when transactions are coming through to identify and verify. They're able to basically just flush these people out and attach a probability and make sure that all good actors are participating and bad actors cannot make their way in. And I really like that it is that sort of random sharding effect onto the other nodes to make it so that it just protects so many different types of issues that could come in. And it just helps with decision making in general and makes it just resilient. And I really appreciate that it's a new way of approaching adversarial actors and people that are coming in that have malicious intents, because it's going to happen. EOS proved that it is going to happen with collusion attacks and everything. So I really like this new approach, and the adaptive security is what this fits under with POSA. Consortium, I briefly mentioned. With the governance system, it takes 100,000 CAM to bond and make that validator and get set up as a validator. And the equal share of 30% of transaction fees is sent to validators in the consortium. A key part here is the core decision making is based on the majority rule. If 50% of the individual proposals are getting the vote, then it passes. And I think that that is a crucial part to this, because each one of these types of proposals and the voting type is crucial to how the system is going to work and scale. So you have your base fee. This can be voted on by the consortium, which is such a key part here, guys. I think that that can't be understated, that people in the consortium that are helping validate and govern the actual industry itself as industry players can change the fees. And that is such a really crucial part. Transaction fee distribution, they can agree on that through a majority, which is 50% plus one. And you can see that they have the admittance, so they can add new members when people apply as they go through the KYB, KYC process. The consortium member removal, so they can kick people out that are validators if this is a 50% plus one, and everyone can participate in that. Camino token, this is to really get some utility going on the different platforms that are using this, so the actual businesses themselves that are implementing the technology can leverage the token. And of course, this is a new revenue stream, because if they're bonding that fixed amount of 100,000 CAM tokens and they are getting their rewards, they're putting in 2,000 tokens to put a proposal up, they're changing different fee structures and everything. You have the different incentives that are using the utility of this token. So I really like that it is only 2,000 tokens. That's a very low barrier to entry. Even as the price fluctuates, people could, in theory, vote on the different price structures that are needed. And I like that there is the fixed amount for the validators, but ultimately payments that are stable to take place on this technology is really a great incentive for the token. So transaction utility, validators, of course, getting the rewards, bonding and unbonding, all of the different components to validating, and then of course the proposal creation, and then the payments. That is a stable CBDC, so central bank digital currency effectively, and they are able to really have those operating at a low transaction fee. We have the different applications that are going to be provided here. The Camino wallet that is going to go cross-chain. You have the sustainability tracker that is going to be able to show emission insights and different daily emission rates for the businesses that are using it. The partner showroom, so everybody can really get their name out there as part of the consortium as a different member. And of course, you have the people that are on the messenger that is transmitting the different messages, and the explorer, the voting, all of it. And these are the different blockchains. We're going to talk about this real quick. The platform chain, or the P chain, is basically like an avalanche style blockchain. The contract chain is where you have the EVM that really lets Ethereum's network get involved, and it supports a bunch of different APIs. You have the exchange chain, similar to Avalanche. A lot of this is inspired by Avalanche. And then of course you have the travel chain. So all of these chains are effectively doing different tasks and values to the people using the network. The travel chain I see as basically the top one that everybody's going to be interacting with. And it is really cool to see the different capabilities that this has with the Camino Messenger. It's a decentralized communication platform designed with specific needs with the end user in mind. Messenger itself is going to really allow for these individual companies that are using it, the quote unquote clients. They can message back and forth with their clients and their customers. And this little detail here is that it mints NFTs for bookings. So when you get a booking done, you get a special NFT, which I think is really cool. And of course you have your micropayments. They can take place via this messenger. And I love that they have this all set up to really empower the different companies and just really give them everything they need with cutting edge technology. I'm really stoked about this project. I love traveling. I do it multiple times a year, and I love everything that is travel. I always have ever since I was a kid. And this type of technology that's being built is really important to do more research on. So I'm going to be linking everything below so you can go read the white paper. Disclaimer, this is a sponsored review. I reached out to the Camino network when I saw that they were really trying to embrace change and push the industry forward. A $9 trillion industry like travel, having a tool that helps everyone work together and innovate together is so cool, so cool. And I reached out to them, and I really appreciate working with them, and I'm excited to follow this project. There's a lot of different things here, like scalability, your security using the POSA, you have transparency. It's an open source source blockchain. And you have the community, of course, of the actual players in the space, guys, the actual industry leaders and the people that are operating the companies that run the travel industry, 150 of them at the time of doing this. So the peer-to-peer connections between all of them already is going to make the industry stronger. Of course, you have the low transaction fees using a method like this with the validators, and the sustainability. I love the idea of the green sustainable number on here so that you know exactly how much you're offsetting for emissions. And this is for the businesses. I know that may not sound like a big deal to you as the consumer or me as the consumer, but to businesses, it is really important now. If you go to any travel website to check the emissions, they literally have it listed everywhere. So this is a key ingredient to how they're going to get into the partnerships with all of these different travel companies that they already have established. And the CO2 emissions that are displayed are crucial to modernizing everything because they're already all researching how to do it, how to track it. So there's no better way than to do it through this type of network approach. I had a lot of fun making this, not only because it poses the question of how a POSA blockchain works, but mainly because you have an industry that has its own blockchain. The question is will every industry have its own dedicated blockchain and having the functionality that it needs? And it really empowers the players already. Like having that thought is a really powerful piece that Camino Network has presented to everyone here. And I think that having its own blockchain that's already governed and powered by the industry players in it is so unique. And I think that that approach could be replicated over every industry. And I know that it sounds like there's going to be hundreds of different blockchains, but ultimately this is a very, very cool experiment. It shows you that people can take control of the industry and the people in the communities can come together in an industry and make things happen through proposals, through new technology, and innovate, push the innovation together. And I really like that. And that is it for this episode. I hope you guys like it. I really like doing these types of videos because this is a really new take on infrastructure and how the companies can come together and change their own industry and innovate their own industry together. So slap a like on this video if you like it. Be subscribed for notifications on the next Fire video. And I will see you here on Hack Crypto.